Although in regular volleyball, certain moves work, that is not directly proportional to Volleyball Legends. I will go over a couple of the many things to avoid doing in Volleyball Legends to 1. Help you not get cooked by your team, and 2. To improve your overall ability as a player. Let's go ahead and start with mistake number 1. The very first thing done in the beginning of any volleyball match is a serve. And you think bumping is the right thing to do since that is what happens in regular volleyball. And you would be right. Kind of. You bumping a serve without advanced controls will cause the ball to return to the opposing team, making you have to defend their attack. Instead, turn on advanced controls and hold down your bump button until a serve is taken. Only then will you let go of the bump button and receive the ball, but this time making it stay on your side of the court due to the decrease in power you applied on it. This is undoubtedly the best way to return any form of attack in Volleyball Legends since your reaction time doesn't have to be insane. The only times I would suggest using anything else is when a curved serve is done and is projected to land very close to the net. In this case, you should dive if it looks like you won't be able to receive the ball any other way. An instant where set receives are useful, possibly even mandatory, is when you just released your hold on bump and you won't have time to press bump and wait for it to decrease in strength fully. In that case, it is recommended to just tap your set bind and receive the ball that way. Every so often, there are always those kids on your team who still don't know how to properly time a hit to get a strong, firm spike. So I'm going to explain it in the simplest of ways. When the ball comes to you and you jump, your right hand has to be just a little under the ball to get a good hit. The further back in the court you are, the harder it will be to get a strong hit. That is why many people back tilt when hitting from the back of the court. The more you play, the easier it will get to get good hits, and the more consistent you'll get doing so. Everything in this game comes with practice, so if you don't get it the first day, I guarantee the next day will be much easier since your fingers get used to the muscle memory of certain movements. One of the most important rules in the game of volleyball that also applies to Volleyball Legends in regular circumstances is that you are only allowed 3 touches on your side of the court before sending it over the net. The only 2 exceptions that I'm aware of is when you are either net fishing, which is done by blocking the ball back to your side of the court, in which it doesn't count as a touch, or when someone has the 4th touch ability, which as it says in the name, allows for a 4th touch instead of just 3. And one thing you never want to do is dive on the last touch your team has, since there is literally no chance of you getting it over the net and will sadly have to give up a point to the other team. The only thing that may save you is if another one of your teammates has magnetic pull and somehow takes the ball from your side of the court to the other without hitting the ball. But that is something kind of difficult to do depending on where the ball first starts off at. So instead of diving for something you clearly can't spike, just bump the ball back to the other team since this is at least better than nothing. Setting is one of the most important positions in the game of volleyball, and if you want to be good at that job, you most likely will never want to side set ever unless you're set blocking and are trying to get a quick counterattack, which in that case is very smart to do, but your teammate also has to be ready for that, which a lot of people just aren't. Instead, look in the direction you want to set to, and depending on how far your spiker is away from you, adjust the power of your set. This allows for more accurate sets that with more reps will make you have better accuracy when locating to your teammates. Side setting will cause your sets to not be as accurate since it is harder to find your teammates if you aren't looking at the whole court before setting and are just throwing the ball to the side expecting someone to be there. Just go into practice mode and give side setting a try, then compare it to regular setting if you don't believe it is better this way. A very simple concept that I have no idea how everyone in the game isn't aware of is to never spike where someone is already covering. Why in the world would you think that spiking directly to an opponent's hand will secure you a point if you see that they are clearly ready to clamp up your hit? I promise you, no matter how many attempts you take, the game will not let the ball go through them while they are pressing their button to defend. Only if you have shield breaker and are also making your spike extremely obvious is it okay to spike directly towards the defenders, because you want everyone to jump since it will make the ball break through the defense's wall, getting you a free point. But make sure to make it obvious you're spiking, because if there are people ready to bump, then this is not going to work since shield breaker does not work on players who don't jump. But assuming you don't have shield breaker, always try to find the space no one is covering and place the ball there to increase your chances of scoring. Contrary to how it is in regular volleyball, you should never block in this game unless you either have secret style Mikage or seal block fully charged up. The reason this is because you are giving possession away that can easily be avoided if you instead just jump set or not jump at all and receive. I have never been able to understand why a Hinto is blocking the ball when the score is 24-24 and we're trying to score the winning point, when he damn well knows that block is not getting us the win. So please, for a second time, if you have already jumped to defend, don't press block, but instead press set, since the ball will stay on your side of the court, keeping possession for your team. Going along with the last tip, remember how I said to jump set instead of blocking? Yeah. Only do that if you know you can get to the ball before the opposing spiker scores. Meaning that if you know the other team is on its last hit and the spiker is preferably close and on one corner of the net, then it is okay for you to jump set to clamp him up, since the chances of him doing a cut shot on you while set blocking is very low. But when the opponent is on its second touch, don't jump for the ball, because if he sets, you will leave the whole side of the court you're covering wide open, making his teammate get a point on your head. Also, if their last touch is in the middle of their side, please resist the urge of jumping, because from a further position, the locations of where the opponent can score on increases, since the further away from the net they are, the harder it is to block their attack from a jump set. So just make sure to read the play and realize when the right time to jump is and when you just shouldn't jump at all. And the most obvious tip of them all is to not hold any tilt button prior to jumping up for anything unless you want to jump in a certain direction. A lot of players, especially newer ones, think that if you hold down a tilt button while jumping, you will be able to move in the air with your keys or controls, but that is not the case. You will just keep on floating away in the direction of where you jumped. An exception to this is with redirection jump, which allows you to jump in the air side to side, front to back, and also switch your camera angle. Once you become better, things like gliding or back tilt spiking will be incorporated into your gameplay and will involve side jumping in these cases.